Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DDB's End Zone Empire with your hosts, Dave, Dustin, and Brian, your source for the latest and greatest fantasy football info, wagering, injury reports, picks of the week, and more.
All right, folks, it's Wild Card Weekend. We are here at AB's Bar. I'm your host, Dave. I got my co-host, Brian, right here.
What's up? Fins up.
My other co-host, Dustin, right here.
What's up? We hit them pretty good last week. Dave's gonna break it down for you here in a minute.
So we're gonna break down these games. We're gonna tell you how you should bet or what we're thinking, and we're also gonna later on in the show we're gonna do a little FanDuel, DraftKings lineups for the weekend for anybody interested in that. And but before we get anything else going, I want to get something out of the way. I've got something to get off my chest, fellas. I just want to let you guys know out there right now. If you go on your FanDuel, DraftKings, or whatever, however you wager, you can get the Rams to win the Super Bowl plus 5,000. Okay, that's a $10 bet that pays $500. When you look at this, is like a horse racing handicapping. Okay, you don't pick the horse you know is going to win the race. You pick the horse that has the best chance to win the race. That's going to pay you the most money, and that's what I'm getting at. I think the Rams have the best outside chance to win this Super Bowl. They've played the Ravens tough. They've played the Niners tough. And when no one else can seem to do that. I think they're rolling right now. We'll get into that more later. I wanted to let you guys know that is a little tip from Uncle Dave. Okay,
all right.
So anyways, this week we're just gonna jump right into our first game. And the first game of the week is the Browns down in Houston at Texans. Before we get into it too much, we're gonna check in with the football mom and make sure there's no injuries.
All right, we're going to start with the Browns with Amari Cooper. He's still dealing with that heel injury, and he hasn't played since week 16. But if he does play, he's a must start. And then we got Robert Woods with a hip injury, and he was inactive for week 18 also. So we're going to need to monitor that official injury report on both of those prior to the game.
Okay. So this game, Brian, I want to ask you. The Browns are on their fifth quarterback, okay? But Flacco, he's been doing well. He's 4-1 as a starter, and his passer rating is a 90, which is good, not great, but it's good and it's winnable. I think that's all the Browns need. The Texas, on the other hand, C.J. Stroud. Rookie quarterbacks just don't seem to do well in the playoffs. Do you kind of see this game going that way, or am I off base here?
I'm going with the experience on this one. You got Joe Flacco coming into this game. He's only 5 games in with the Browns. He's got 13 touchdowns, 1,600 yards. That's the best thing the Browns have seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I see it rolling in this game. I mean, you've got Ford. I'd say Cooper will probably play. This is a playoff game. And Njoku's been playing out of his mind. In the last 4 games, 28 receptions, 360 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's playing crazy right now. Flacco is the best thing that's happened to him, and we all know about the defense. It's just crazy. But I think you're going to see the rookie come out and Stroud in this game. The pressure of a playoff game, it's going to take him a while. It's his first time, but I see the Browns not running away. But I got a 24-10 game in this.
Okay.
Right.
Now, Dustin, the Texans, they're 8-1 when holding opponents under 20 points. Okay? C.J. Stroud, believe it or not, has only 14 turnovers, which is one of the lowest in the league, especially for a rookie. There is a path here, and what I'm wondering is 2.5 points. Is that enough, or do you actually would you bet the Texans in this game?
I'm going with Brian. What he said. We got pardon the Drake pun here, but we got the rookie and the vet right here.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The Browns defense is they're going to be getting after Stroud, and it's gonna slow him down a lot. Flacco's always been good in the playoffs, and I say Browns roll. I say you can take the Browns minus 2.5 here.
What's the over under?
I don't have it with me.
Okay, it's 44.5.
44.5.
I was probably sticking away from the over unders on these playoff games.
Yeah. what I love about the playoffs is the atmosphere is rowdy, the intensity of the players. I mean, this is as good as it gets.
It'll be rocking at NRG.
Oh yeah, and the Texans, I think they do have a legitimate shot here. I know it sounded like I was talking them up, but guys, I have the Cleveland winning this game. I think I want to tell you guys to lock this pick. The Browns will beat the Texans -2.5. You can eat those points, no problem. It's going to be a good game, but I think the talent will prevail here, and the Browns defense is going to give C.J. Stroud fits.
Oh yeah.
Now, if there's anybody out there doing your fantasy lineups and things, we will get into that a little later, I guess. It's probably how we're going to play it this week.
Yeah, because I think right now everybody's setting a whole fantasy lineup.
Yeah.
For your fantasy playoff challenge.
Yeah, so you're looking for more of value and bang for your bucks, and we'll go over that later. So we're just going to stick to these games for and the gambling and the winning and losing for right now, and that's going to take us to our next game, which is the Dolphins are going up to Kansas City in the cold 8-degree weather. And what I heard today was game time. They're expecting -15 wind chill. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure it's a little warmer than that in Miami, and I don't know if these guys are going to be ready for it.
There's going to be a lot of shrinkage that weekend.
Dude, I can tell you right now. Look, I mean, I don't know how many, really cold games have happened in KC yet. So, I mean, is KC ready for that?
Well, they've been probably practicing it. I would. But anyway, before we get into it too much or break it down, let's check in with the football mom and make sure there's or hear about all these injuries.
We're going to get half her injury report is all about the Dolphins. So come on, bring it.
The Dolphins starting defense.
We got Raheem Mostert, who sat out last week with the ankle and knee injury. And then we got Jalen Waddle, who has missed the last 2 weeks with the ankle injury. But the coach is very optimistic that both of them will be ready to play the wild card game.
That's why they didn't play last week. They're saving them.
Rest.
Okay.
And then on the Chiefs side, the only one you have to watch for is Rashid Rice with that hamstring injury. But they said he should be ready to play.
Okay.
I see Ramsey shutting him down, fellas. But all right.
Now, Dustin, I want to ask you. I want to tell you something first, then I'll ask you a question. Travis Kelce, in 14 games in the playoffs, 16 touchdowns. The man is a beast when it comes time to the playoffs and the big games. This is -3.5 Kansas City, 9-degree weather. Is that the betting play here?
I think so. I got the Chiefs Dolphins are banged up on defense. Top 3 pass rushers are out. That's a clean pocket from Mahomes.
They just signed a 52-year-old pass rusher.
Easy, but
Houston.
Recently,
Allen
he played for the Chiefs for 8 years before that, so he
I
knows.
know, but he was at home mowing the
knows.
grass, and then they're like, "Hey, you think you can still go?" He had to ask Meemaw, and Meemaw said it was okay, so he's out there playing.
Hey, that's gonna be player of the game. Y'all don't even know yet.
3 sacks.
No,
Forced fumble.
I'm teasing Houston. Don't beat me up. I know you're big. Brian, I hate to kick a dead horse when it's down.
You
Or
know,
wait, is
you
that-
know what's
Is
coming.
that how you say that? Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. So the Dolphins,
dead
they missed a lot of tackles last week, and they have 5 starters out on defense. It doesn't seem like they have an edge rusher right now. Is Mahomes going to pick them apart, or do you? What do you see?
All right, the only tackles we missed last week was against Josh Allen, and I don't know many people in this league that can actually tackle him heads up. So, going off that, I'm just looking at this game as we are banged up on defense, so we're going to have to put up some points here. But I'm looking at the Chiefs side of the ball, and I'm still wondering who they're going to throw the ball to because, Kelsey's numbers are down on the season. He may be incredible when he does get in the playoffs, but he's incredible in the regular season too, and he's only posted 5 touchdowns. He didn't even get a 1,000-yard season this year.
Well, and he's been banged up though. He's been playing through injury, and which is normal for a tight end, really. But he has had some issues, and I'm just wondering if the time that he had off last week, is that going to be enough to get him back to where he can be the big player in the primetime games?
I think so, but I mean, our secondary will be there. But I mean, as a Dolphins fan, the main person I'm worried about is Pacheco. He's been playing
Yeah.
out of his mind. He's one of the most aggressive and just mean runners in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and Pacheco is actually on my lineup for this weekend, but we'll touch on that.
But
later.
and then I tell you one other thing it was missing. I'm not going to say Mostert because I think Jeff Wilson stood up pretty good. He had a really good game, but Waddle, that second target we did not have last week, and I think if we-
Waddle is, yeah. When you got him with
Yeah, I
Hill,
mean,
it's a different
because I mean,
different
if,
offense.
yeah, if you look at it, I mean, they knew where the ball was going at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It was Tyreek, and they picked him off at the end. But I think it's going to be different this week, and that's why I got Ramsey's going to shut down Rice. He's a little gimped up right now, so I've got the Dolphins 20-17 in a close game.
Oh, okay. A little upset. We're going to have something to talk about next week, too, because this
Does
is.
anybody have to wear a dress? I remember there was a bet or
No,
something
that's
last week about a dress.
I
Did
don't-
nothing happen?
No, we didn't take
I don't
the
think-
bet, but
yeah.
if we
Okay,
did,
okay.
Brian
I'd be
would
wearing a
wearing
dress.
All right.
Yes, yes.
He told me the Dolphins were going to beat the Bills. Now he's trying to tell me the Dolphins are going to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a top 3 or 4 defense right now, and the defensive side of the ball is really what's been winning them these games. Mahomes has been, dare I say, kind of average this year, but he's still Patrick Mahomes. And when the big lights come on, I think the Kansas City. I think they're going to look pretty good this weekend. I'm not saying they're going to win another game after that, but I think they're gonna take the Dolphins because the pass rush from the Chiefs and their physicalness, I think, is the main thing. The Dolphins, they've shown that glass jaw, and I think everybody knows what to do now.
Brian, if this
But-
makes you feel
but-
better, I'd probably take the Dolphins if they were playing at home.
But I mean, honestly, I'm just looking at this as if you look at a lot of whenever they play a big team. I mean, we start off with that running game, and it looks amazing. We had over 100 rushing yards in the first half against the Bills, and I don't even think we managed 40 in the second half. They went against the run. If he just sticks with his game plan, I think we can take this. As long as we keep Mahomes on that sideline, we have the running backs to make that happen.
Okay. So you still with me, Dustin? We're going to lock this game.
Oh, we'll lock it.
This game, folks.
We ain't got the 3-piece lock.
It's
We
enough.
got 2-piece.
Look, just a heads up. I locked all these games. Okay, so you can feel confident with your bets this week. It is a lock that the Chiefs will beat the Dolphins in the cold 9-degree weather.
Bullshit. Excuse me.
You going money line or you
Excuse me.
going?
I was just getting ready to say I kind of like the money line in this one just in case.
Me and Dave are puckering up.
Just in
moved,
case.
We've moved the
But-
money line.
But
Chiefs.
it's 3.5, so you're not
Highest
gonna
scoring
you're not gonna
offense.
you're not gonna lose too much juice going money line in this game. I don't
Yeah.
think. Plus, right now it's 3.5. The line could change. We'll see what happens there. The next game on our schedule, those were both Saturday games, by the way, and Dolphins Chiefs being the late game. So Sunday morning at 1, the first game would be the Steelers at Buffalo, and I'm pretty sure it's cold there, but the Steelers are used to it. This game is a big spread. It's interesting, but before we break it down, let's hear from the football mom and see about all these injuries.
All right. On the Steelers side, there's no injuries, and Mason Rudolph is going to be the starting quarterback, and they're going to stay with the hot hand, and they believe that he's earned it. So Pickett will be the second backup. Bills-wise, you got Gabe Davis, who got a knee injury and exited Week 18's game, and he was diagnosed with a PCL sprain. They said do not count him out. They're going to watch him closely, and he may be able to play in that wild card game.
Okay.
Who's that?
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis. Okay. All right.
So, Brian, the Steelers have a bottom 10 offense, and they've had for a few years now. But also, one thing that the football mom was telling you about their offensive players, especially that's more relevant when it comes to your gambling and whatnot. But one thing is that wasn't mentioned is the Steelers are going to have to go this week without T.J. Watt.
I know.
and that's their biggest help on defense because of the amount of pressure he gets on the quarterback. And so Brian, with the bottom 10 offense of the Steelers and Watt being out, is that going to for sure lock the Bills in? But also, how do you feel about that -10?
I'm not really.
Or is it -10? That's what it looks like I wrote
What
down.
I've got
Yeah, I got -10.
Okay.
-10.
Yeah, I wrote it small.
If Watt was there, this would be a different discussion because I look at the Steelers and I break it down with their division. They've got one of the toughest divisions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they went 5-1 in their division,
Mm-hmm.
and their one loss was to Cleveland. It was a 10-13 game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking they can win the big games. And if you go down their schedule here, I mean, they've beat the Rams. They beat the Packers, which the Packers have come on pretty strong. And you take that and the Seahawks, if you combine that with their division, they got some really good wins under their belt. And if Watt was there, I would pick the Steelers in an upset. But you're going to have to get at Josh Allen. You're going to have to keep him in that pocket, and I just don't think they're going to be able to.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely taking the Bills. I wouldn't take the points, though. I'd go money line because Steelers defense is still going to show up. I don't see this being a runaway.
Yeah.
It should be a pretty good game.
So, Dustin, Josh Allen's interceptions are a concern for me. You know, he
Not if you
seemed
bet the plus 0.5 interceptions per game.
yeah. Well, I mean,
I know what you're saying.
last week he was able to almost single-handedly win the game in spite of those interceptions. I don't know if he can. That's a good winning formula, but also the Bills this year are they're 5-1 against playoff teams this year, so they can play with the big boys. My question is that 10 points. Can you eat it, or you're gonna go
Actually,
money?
I'm going to. I got no T.J. Watt for the Steelers. I think that just turns the whole Steelers defense around. He creates so much problems. You got the Bills peaking at the right time. Sorry for the coach speak, but 5 straight. Yeah, I'll say Bills cover in this.
Okay. I'm a little worried about the 10 points. That's a big spread for a playoff game. But I really I've got Dustin's back here because I feel the same way. I just don't see how the Steelers are going to be able to put enough points on the board to keep the Bills and plus 10 points.
I think the best formula is going to be the running game because Harris here in the last few weeks has
been
terror.
stepping it up. Yeah.
And then you got him. He's being complimented.
God, I think he had
by
22
Warren.
carries last game,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Jalen Warren, he's
Yeah, they ran
killing
the
it,
ball 31
receiving out of the
times last game.
backfield. So, I mean, they're really turning it on. The wideouts are really
Pickens, yeah.
I mean, if you look at their last 2 games, or last 3 games, they put up 17, 30, and 34. That's a big boost in their offensive production since Rudolph's been in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
points.
you know what? I'll be honest with you.
How about this? We just locked the Bills.
I'm going to lock the Bills for sure. But here's where I think Brian may have just got me there a minute. I kind of feel like the 10 points. I mean, it is a lot of points for a playoff game. But if you go money line here, you're gonna lose a lot of your juice. I mean, you might if you bet $100, you might win $30 or something. You know, so I don't know. But either way, let's lock the Bills money line. I know it's not going to help you too much. If you're feeling confident, if you're from Buffalo, and take the 10 points.
Well, I wouldn't let that. I wouldn't parlay it. I wouldn't let that -10 be the third leg that kicks your ass in your parlay. So
Yeah.
No.
That's my problem. In your parlay, you might go money line, but it would be a good bet with the -10 in a single game situation. So our next game on the list, we have Green Bay going down to Dallas to play the boys. This is a -7.5 for the boys. That's kind of questionable for me. But either way, before we get into it, let's hear from the football mama, see about all these injuries.
All right. Well, most of your injuries are on the Packers side. We got A.J. Dillon still dealing with that broken thumb, and he also got a neck stinger, so he was held out week 18. It's unknown if he'll be able to play, so we'll just have to listen closely for that injury report. Now, Romeo Dobbs sustained a chest injury in week 18, and he was taken to the hospital actually coughing up blood. So, not really sure whether he's going to play. It sounds more doubtful than positive, but we'll have to listen for that. Christian Watson has been dealing with that hamstring all year. He was held out the past few weeks, and I think that was intentional, so he'll be ready for the wild card game. We got Luke Musgrave, who was taken off the injury report last week. He did play a couple plays this past week, but he should be ready for the wild card game. And then on the Cowboys side, there's no injuries.
Okay. So Dustin, that's 7.5 points. You've got Love surging. I mean, 6-2 in his last 8. The Packers are really coming on strong, but Dak, on the other hand, he leads the league in completion percentage and touchdown passes. Does that 7.5 points? With that being said, does that bother you? Or
On the way over here, I did these notes. I wrote down Green Bay plus 7.5. I'm starting to think Dallas. Dallas is pretty wild at home.
Yeah.
Stick with me, Dustin.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
Well,
Roll
you know
with
what?
me, dog.
If my gut told me at first to take it, I'm gonna
Stick
take
with
it.
your gut now.
Green Bay plus 7.5 on this.
there you go. Stick to the
like
gut.
it, I
Okay,
like
so Dustin likes Green Bay plus 7.5, and I can see why. Jordan Love has really proven a lot of people wrong. The Packers have 4 receivers that a lot of teams wish they had. So there's some offense there. The Cowboys. They can seem to crush the little guys, but the Packers, they might be strong enough to give them a battle.
It might
here,
be a
Brian.
big boy.
What do you think?
I broke this game down and I'm looking, and you look at 36 touchdowns for Prescott and that offense and all the weapons he has, but then you look at Love and all the young wideouts he has, and he's still managed 32 touchdowns on the year. So I'm breaking it down. Even if they don't have Romeo Dobbs, they've got Reed, which is the leading receiver on their team right now, 790 yards and 8 touchdowns, and that's a rookie. You got Watson coming back this week, Jones out of the backfield, Wicks, and then you got this guy named Tucker Kraft.
Yep.
Even if Musgrave can't go, he's averaging 4 catches for 50 yards, and that's good for third downs right there. But then you break down the Cowboys. Everything looks great, but one thing. The running game.
Yeah.
They
I knew you were gonna say
have
that.
no running game, and
Tony's,
that's
Tony's been a disappointment.
it's going to
say the
take
least
that to
this year.
close out the Packers, and I just don't see it. And the Cowboys they start so slow that I don't think they're going to be able to rebound after the Packers come and put it on their heads. I got a 31-20 win for the Packers.
Yeah, if you can keep CD Lamb, don't let him catch the ball 14 times.
I mean, Lamb's going to get his, and and they're going to get it in the passing game, but when it comes to running the ball, they just ain't got
Yeah.
nobody. So
Well, now in big game situations, you might be right. But last week they did play Washington. And Washington, yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. They did trade away some linemen. But the Cowboys ran 29 times for 131 yards. And, yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a 4.5 yard average per play.
it is, but that's right after that team just traded away their 2
Yes,
pass
for
rushers.
sure.
So-
But also Prescott, he dropped 279 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. It was CeeDee Lamb had 13. CeeDee Lamb actually cost me one of my bets last week because I needed 100 yards out of him, and he got 98.
Well, let me throw
But,
one little stat at you. I just got
One of them.
one. If you look at Green Bay's defense, when it was on the line, they needed that win to make the playoffs. They sacked Justin Fields 5 times in that game last week.
Yeah.
Now, if they can contain Justin Fields, I'm pretty sure they can do that to Prescott.
Yeah, and Prescott, I'm not saying that he's a world beater or the greatest quarterback in the world. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that he is he's well enough to take this particular Cowboys team and go at home and take down the Packers, excuse me. And I also think, you know what, those 7.5 points are a little bit dangerous. I kind of like the money line here, but just for because it's playoffs, it's time to go big or go home. I've got a lock. Cowboys minus 7.5.
All right.
Eat the points. I think the Packers have been playing well. I don't know that that Parsons and company are going to give up all those points. And I really think that's going to be the difference here is the way the Packers how can they handle the Cowboys defense? You got one thing though, fellas. This is the playoffs. Okay, you've already earned your paycheck in a year. Now it's time to earn your name. You're working on your legacy, right? This is it. This is time to go.
I think we're all missing a big thing here too. Is Mike McCarthy playing his old team?
Yeah.
There's a lot of this going on.
So,
We'll get more of this in a minute.
I would give nothing more than to see the Pack go in there and just throw it to the Cowboys.
Awesome.
Oh, Brian, did you bring up Tyreek making his homecoming?
Dude, I was actually at the end of that. Dave done said
'Cause
the
we got
next
another
game,
one
but
coming
I
up
was
next
about to
game.
throw out
Yeah.
Tyreek for 175 against the OT.
So we got Tyreek making
But it's all
homecoming. We got some coaches making a homecoming. We got 2 other players coming up next game.
Yeah.
Playing against their old
we got
squads.
We got the best game in the lineup coming up next. But
Yeah, well, I just think that the Cowboys are too strong here for the Packers, and when it's go time, when it's playoff time, when the big players play, when it comes down to it, the Cowboys just have more big
Dave,
players.
if I'm you, I might move that line to 7 instead of 7.5.
Well, if you can, if you want to move your line down a half a point, I think it'll cost you a little juice, but I think it's a good play here because at worst in your parlay, you may get a wash or so, and that's okay. If you get a push, it takes away from the purse, but you're not out, So, yeah, if I would, that's a smart, Dustin. I would do that. I like that a lot. So there it is, folks. Buy down the half point on the Cowboys. Take it down to 7. Cowboys over Packers lock. Okay. So our next game is, I think, the game that we're most excited to talk about because it's probably going to be the most. It has the potential to be the most exciting game, and we're going to get into it. I'm talking about the Rams are going to Detroit to play the Lions in their first home playoff game in a while. So let's check in with the football mom and see about these injuries.
All right, Rams-wise, we got Tyler Higbee still dealing with a shoulder injury. He was out week 18, but he's stated to be trending in the wrong direction. So if unable to play, we have Dallas Allen, who will step up as tight end. Lions-wise, we got Jameson Williams dealing with an ankle injury, but he is still expected to play. But what's going to hurt them is losing Sam Laporta with that knee injury. He hyperextended it and is doubtful to play. So Brock Wright will be the fill-in for him.
yeah.
All right. So this game, man, it's almost it's a bad matchup for the Lions, and I feel bad for Detroit because, Detroit, you guys out there, you might not believe it, but they have one of the most hardcore and loyal fan bases out there. I mean,
you have to be. Them and the Jets.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
They show up every
Cleveland,
game.
though.
Yeah.
They show out. They travel well. I mean, there's Lions fans, and they're hardcore. But either way, I feel it's a bad rap for the Lions because they drew the Rams, and that's just the way it goes, But either way, let's get into it, Brian. Let's see. The Detroit is getting 3.5 points at home here. Is this upset alert?
100%. I mean, all I could write on all these players, Williams, Puka, Stafford, the defense as a whole, just hot. I mean, they are one of the hottest teams right now in the NFL. I've got them, the Packers, and the Cleveland Browns. And it really does suck that they ran into that because
I feel like everybody's been a low-key Lions fan kind of this year.
they have,
No,
but
yeah.
I think the Lions they're meeting their match this week. And you look on their side of the ball, and everybody's been playing so good. Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown, Montgomery. I think Brock Wright. I think he's a really good play in DraftKings this week. But I'm taking the Rams in this game.
Okay. Yeah,
definitely.
I like it.
I'd go money line on it, but I'm taking Rams.
We're going 3 for 3 here. Yeah, the Rams, both of them got explosive offenses.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Rams is just a tad bit more explosive. And both defenses kind of suck, but Rams got Aaron Donald. I like the money line here. I don't even want the points. I think
No.
the Rams win outright here.
And that builds your juice
yeah.
and your parlay. So that's a little tidbit there to win a little extra. Dustin, I'm going to have to agree with you here. Okay, the Lions they're tough at home. That's for sure. But the Rams are on a roll, and they're the hottest team in the NFC right now, 4-game win streak. And not only that, the Rams are 6-2 when healthy. Okay, they've taken the Ravens to the wire. I mean, to the brink. You know, they've taken the 49ers. Matter of fact, they beat the 49ers 2 years ago in the playoffs. Yep. So I feel like the Rams are going to win this game. But people, pay attention to the injury report. Pay attention, because if Sam Laporta is a go, that changes things.
That's very, very.
I think that's the big key
Sam
here.
Laporta had a lot to do with this
Yes.
decision.
If Sam Laporta does not play, watch the injury report, keep up with it. If he does not play, I think you can feel confident here to take the Rams and even go money line like Dustin's saying. Build your parlay, because the Rams will win this game. I have it as a lock, folks.
I think everybody who was watching football last week saw that Sam Laporta injury. It's a safe bet. He's not playing. That knee went all the way backwards.
Yes.
It was really, really bad. But look, I'm going to go off the subject right now. I got one question. Puka, did he do enough to beat out Stroud for Rookie of the Year?
Oh,
Most receptions and
Dude, I
most
don't know this.
yards
When
by
does-
a rookie
well, the
wide
problem
receiver.
though is
Does the voting end in the regular season?
It should, yeah.
Okay.
the Texans. The Texans won what three games last year or something like that.
Yeah.
And now they're in the playoffs. I think C.J. Stroud is the big reason why. And so he's done a heck of a job.
But I mean, if you look
You could say that for both players. that they
exactly,
both-
because I mean, if you look at Cooper Kupp this year, a down season. Puka's leading his 1,486 yards
Yeah.
receiving.
Yeah, record,
100
rookie record.
105 receptions. Is that enough? I think it's enough.
I take the underdog. I think God. I feel like they'll just give it to the quarterback. Though.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's going to happen, but a little shout out to Puka if you're listening.
yeah, both well
I'm with you,
deserved,
dog.
But
Yeah. Hey, to all my family up in Michigan, I hate to say it, y'all, but the Lions, their secondary is suspect. The Lions they let the wide receivers get loose too much, and I think this is the biggest thing here is that you've got a healthy Cooper Kupp, you got a Puka Nacua, and I really think they're going to go nuts on this Detroit defense.
don't forget about Kyron Williams.
Yes, and that's one of the
big
main
key
names.
is, can Haverstein block Hutchinson? Because Hutchinson, I think he had 3 sacks last week or
He
something.
did.
I mean, the
He did.
guy is on a roll.
Well, we know
I think that was-
McVay runs a lot of motion.
That was against the Vikings too.
I think
so it's going to be a little.
They're going to
different
be
this
running
week.
at him with double teams or running.
Yeah,
away
and they're
from
going
him.
to move him around, and Haverstein's going to stay.
Yeah.
at
I
left
think a lot of
tackle,
this game too. If you look at the Lions coach Campbell, he gambles a lot in games
This
with
might-
his
yeah.
fourth downs and
Oh yeah,
his,
yeah.
special teams. This ain't the game to gamble on.
And I don't think
it
he
might
can
bite
pull
him
it
this
back.
game.
I don't
Yeah.
think.
But I mean, if you look at the Cowboys game, I think if they would have just tied that up, take it into overtime,
Yeah.
they could have won that game with all the momentum that was going on. And I think it hurts him sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big fam up in Michigan. I'm sorry, but lock the Rams this week. Take the money. Look, even if the Rams win, you're going to be happy. Or if the Lions win, you're going to be happy. And if they lose, you're going to have some money. Okay, so but anyway,
You're coming out on top.
I think we're going to just move right into our next game, which is the Monday night game. And this is the Philadelphia Eagles going down to Tampa, Florida to play the Buccaneers. Before we get into it, let's check in with the football mom and see about these injuries.
Hold on, Dave. I want to tell you a quick joke real quick.
Okay.
It was expensive for me this year to do what you said, but I did buy U of L a 10-win season this year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, by trying to fade them every game. So I'd be, you're happy. You win the money.
Yeah.
Or you get the victory.
Yep. I got you. I mean, that's how you have to do it sometimes. You can't gamble with your heart.
Either way, you're going to be happy.
Yeah. So let's check in with the football mom and check out these injuries for this Eagles-Bucks game.
All right, we're going to start with the Eagles. We did see what happened to Jalen Hurt this past week, where he injured that middle finger of the throwing hand. It dislocated but did not fracture. He is considered day to day, but if unable to go, we got Marcus Mariota ready to
Watch out
step
now.
in there.
Woo.
We got Devontae Smith with that ankle injury. He has not played the last 3 weeks, so they kept him out in hopes that he'll be ready for this wild card game, and I think he will be. Now, A.J. Brown sustained that knee injury this past week. He exited the game pretty early in the first quarter, but I don't know. I think they just held him out to preserve the injury because it didn't really look that bad.
Yeah.
The way he acted, though,
I
and the
know.
way we did not see no clear hyperextension. We didn't
Right.
see
No
nothing.
hit,
So, I mean,
nothing.
and the way he went down, though, and the way he grabbed that knee makes me think that it's a lot worse than they're leading on.
Yeah. Is there anyone else?
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have Swift back this week. He was not. He was held out last week also, but I think that was just a rest. Now, when we jump to the Bucks side, the only injury that they have sustained is Baker Mayfield with that rib injury, but he's wrapped up pretty good. But he did tweak that ankle towards the end of the fourth quarter. It did make it hard for him to move around and get around pretty good, but he did manage to complete the game. But he is needed in this wild card match. The Bucks won't stand a chance if he's not healthy enough to play.
Exactly.
So-
Baker's playing.
Yeah, and
100%.
Dustin, I've got a question for you here.
All right.
Philly opened up at -2.5. Yeah, Hurt got banged up, AJ, and here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Hurts is going to play. I'm hearing that Swift is going to play. I'm hearing that Smith is going to play. I'm also hearing that A.J. Brown's not going to play. And I don't know how true that is. Hopefully he can get out there, but I think he doesn't play. But also, here's my question. Philly opened up at 2.5, but the line's moved to 3. Can you explain that to me? I mean, is that the play here? The Philly got it still?
I think I don't think so. I got Philly losing 5 out of the last 6. They got a lot of talent on that team, which makes me believe something else is going on. I don't. Players ain't buying into the coach. Something, because there's way too much talent to drop 5 out of 6 to the Giants, and God knows who else was on that list.
Yeah.
With the injuries too, I'm going a little off the rails here. I'm going Tampa money line on this.
Okay. Now, Brian.
I think it's a close game. I think Tampa wins maybe 21-20. But yeah, I'm gonna go Tampa money line.
Okay, Brian. The line moving up to 3. What's the over under in that game?
I've got it at.
Now, if AJ Brown,
44.
if Philly's fully healthy on this, I'd reconsider, look into it a little bit more. But as of today, right now, I'll do Tampa money line.
Well, the fact that the over under is at 44. Philly's moved up to 3 points. That tells me that Vegas believes there's going to be points scored in this game, and that Philly is on the road.
A better team.
I mean, they're a better team by 3 points, and if it was on a neutral site, they'd be favored by 6. That's kind of hard for me to ignore, and I wanted to pick the Bucks here, but I have the Eagles winning a close one, money line it, and also if it goes over 3, right now it's went from 2.5 to 3. If it goes over 3, I might. I'd stay away from them. If it dropped back down to 2.5, you could almost take the points. But at 3, I just don't like it. I would go money line here and lock it in, as the Eagles will win this game, but they might not win another one.
That's it. The way I've got this game, I think a lot of people, if they watched the game last week, the Eagles may have a gem sitting on their bench in Quez Watkins. If you look at his 8 catches, 93 yards after Brown left the game, it really helped. And if you look at Julio Jones, week 17 caught 2 touchdowns. He ended up with like 5 targets last week. Wasn't that great? but you didn't have Hurts in there. But I think the whole thing to the Eagles, a lot of people's looking at their coaching, but I think we're all starting to see what kind of quarterback Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah.
It's one thing Dave always taught me, that a quarterback needs to reinvent himself every year. And I see the same Jalen Hurts as I did the previous year. And if you look at his numbers, 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. He's almost tripled.
How many
his
touchdowns are
interceptions.
off tush push?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, no, all that's passing.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you look at that and then you've got 3,800 yards, I think everybody's just figuring Jalen out. And, I mean,
Well, and that's
the
the thing.
scrambling ain't always going to work.
That
Sometimes you got to
defense ain't
sit
helping
in
none
that
either.
pocket and throw it, and he's just not getting it done, really.
Yeah, you can't just keep doing the same things
But-
and expect it's gonna keep working. He's the best, greatest defensive minds in the world. Over
Exactly.
here.
And,
So-
and I'm looking at it, though. I'm with you. I think the Eagles can win this game, but if they don't get Brown back and some key pieces on defense, I don't see them going much further.
yeah. Now, Brian, my big thing here was when you look at the players on both sides, and say you were going to draft these players for your team, the top 10, 15 players would all be Eagles. You know, I mean, with the exception of an aging Mike Evans, but
I mean, if you look, I mean, I think in this game, the Bucks have the better running back in White. White has shown everybody this year that he will be a top 10 fantasy running back next year. Swift is he's no chump or anything. Swift's done pretty good this year, but White has just blown up. Baker's sitting in the pocket. If you look at his 28 touchdowns next to 10 interceptions and 4,000 yards, that ain't no chump either.
yeah.
So it's going to be a close game. I think Philly will edge them out and hope to God they can get healthy by next week.
Yeah. Now, I'm with you, and I'm going to lock the Eagles at 2.5. It's up to 3. Maybe you go money line there, and I think really that's going to kind of wrap that game up. And folks, it's time to go big or go home. If you're gonna, I mean, there's only a handful of games, so the season's almost over. There's going to be no more betting on football. So take what we've given you here and go win you some money, because we're going to win money. We've been winning money all year, So, but either way, before we let you get out of here, we want to talk about a couple things. One is I had this whole thing about coaching and all the thing, but with all the new news going on, especially today, and all the coaches getting fired and what have you, I think we're going to save that topic for another day, because there's a lot more to cover on that. That just things have just happened today. We haven't had really a time.
I think the Pete Carroll thing kind of threw a wrench in that.
It did, it did, and then the Bears extending their coach's contract, because I had this whole spiel about how Harbaugh from Michigan should go to the Bears, But either
He's going
way,
to the Chargers.
I think what we're going to get into real quick is what we told you early in the episode here, is that we have FanDuel lineups, and we have DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever. You whatever platform you use, most of these are going to be pretty similar. Now, the lineups that we are using here for this are for the whole weekend. We're not just doing a Saturday lineup or a Sunday or a Monday night or whatever. There's a lineup for the whole weekend, and as we get into it, most of you are well familiar with how this works and how these weekly lineups work. But just in case you're not, you get a sum of money to draft players with. And the key to these things are finding low-budget players who are going to perform. And if you can do that, and the rest of your guys, even if they just have average games for them, you will win some money on the back end. It might not be much, but you still have to have some of these budget players and that are going to perform. So my lineup right now that I have, that I put in today, it would be Matt Stafford at quarterback, because he's a good value. He's a low-budget quarterback for this week, and he's also going against a suspect Detroit Lions secondary. With Cooper and Nakua healthy, I think that would be a smart play. I know you guys have lineups. Did you have another quarterback? Or?
I just made one now. You want to
I've-
hear the whole thing, or y'all
I've-
just do quarterback?
I've got Matthew Stafford myself.
Okay.
I got Stafford.
Oh,
Okay.
well, there you go.
There we
Okay,
go.
Good.
so take Stafford as your quarterback, and when our running backs, our starting 2 running backs, I had Singletary, and I also had Harris, and he's questionable. Pittsburgh.
He's playing.
But Jalen, or no, wait, not Warren.
Najee.
Najee, yeah. I had Najee because of the amount of carries that, like Dustin mentioned earlier, he had 22 carries last week, and I think the week before that he may have had 26 or something.
And I see
you know.
Steelers trying to keep the clock moving.
They're
Yeah,
going to
he's
try to
getting
eat the
them.
clock and keep it a low-scoring game. I think that's the avenue for the Steelers. That's been their formula
Oh, 100%.
recently.
And that's exactly why I've got Najee myself.
Do you?
Actually, I'm not lying.
Oh, my
my next
goodness,
running back is
yeah.
Najee.
I have
Okay.
Najee, and then I have Gibbs as my second running back.
I went
Gibbs.
Montgomery as my second running back.
There
Gibbs
we
and
go.
Montgomery, and
Same
those are
team.
good picks. Those are good picks. And obviously,
Montgomery was a hair cheaper. I think like $100
Yeah.
cheaper.
and Singletary would be if you're looking for more of a
Singletary
budget.
was on my radar.
He was.
Singletary was a cheaper option than Montgomery and Gibbs. But you play it how you feel. Those are our picks for our starting 2 running backs. Our wide receivers, my 3 starting receivers.
See if we hit this together.
I had CeeDee Lamb.
I got CD Lamb.
I mean, volume alone, he
Okay,
had 13
yeah.
catches
All right.
last week. Rasheed Rice. And then I also had my low budget. Well, Rice was a budget, but my super budget player here, he doesn't always do well. But it's the suspect Detroit Lions, Tutu Atwell.
2-2. Okay. All right. Well, let me jump on board here. I've got Lamb myself.
Okay.
I've got Reed for the Green Bay Packers.
Yep, that's solid.
And here's my budget pick. I want to butcher his name. I think Shakir for Buffalo.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
Gabe Davis is out, he recorded 6 catches for 105 yards after Gabe Davis went out.
Yeah.
Dude
That's a
has-
solid
He's
pick.
capable of those Gabe Davis.
Yeah, and I mean I got him for 3,400. So
All right.
Yeah.
I got mine's a little different. I went with the Puka Nuka Stafford stack.
Yeah.
Rice for Kansas City, and then my kind of lower budget was Chris Godwin.
that's a good
Godwin.
one. Yeah,
That-
he's been eating them up lately.
Yeah, and I think Rice is a solid pick here for Kansas City. I mean, he's been getting the lion's share of the targets, we should say.
I might have to submit this lineup. here in
No,
a second.
honestly, I did look at Rice, but the hamstring scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamstrings
Yeah.
have been lingering all year long, and with it being a fresh injury, it kind of scared me.
They
away.
got the 8 o'clock game if you need to.
Yeah. And CeeDee Lamb,
He's
volume
money.
alone. I mean, that's
10 catches a game.
it's a high price to pay, but 2 out of the 3 of us decided to pay that price
Yeah.
in our lineup. So I think that's a good. I think there's still value there, even at what was it, $10,000 or $9,000 price tag.
9,000, yes.
But okay, so my tight end boys, I went with Njoku because he's been one
Boy's
of the
been on
hottest
fire.
tight ends
Yeah.
in the league right now.
I got his numbers right here in front of me, and it is crazy, dude. In
Yeah.
the last 4 games, 28 catches, 360 for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
He's
And-
money.
he's not the most expensive tight end, but he's also not the cheapest. So he's not the most budget, but there is some value there. I think when you're picking your lineups, Dustin, who'd you have at tight end?
I went back to the whale. See if my boy Mr. Kincaid can get the show rolling.
Yeah,
again.
and they're gonna the Bills to win the game. They're gonna have to throw somebody.
All right, I'm going with the gamble here. It
For
was
the-
a cheap pick, and I think the Detroit Lions are still going to stick with their guns as far as their tight end. I'm going Brock Wright.
Okay,
You can get him cheap, and
now that is smart.
That's
because
a game winning.
that gave me the money for my flex pick coming up.
All right.
So
Okay, so the next we have flex pick, and this is some people play it one of 2 ways. You can save up money for your flex, or you can go cheap on your flex. Me, on the hand, I decided to go cheap on my flex, and I have the Cowboys backup running back, that Dwaddle,
Yeah.
and
He sneaks in touchdowns.
Yeah, so
I mean, he gets 10 carries a game.
yeah, and I think there's value there, especially if the boys can get it going against the Packers. So, who do you have as your flex?
I've got James Cook, and I'm going with him for the simple fact that I see the Steelers' defensive line has took a shot with Watt, and which makes their secondary the strongest. So I see a strong running game coming with this because a lot of people's looked at Cook in the last 3 weeks. He's put up single-digit fantasy points. So I see a big game coming out of him this week in the receiving game and rushing game.
I went with Mr. Pacheco at my flex.
That's a great one.
Okay.
I don't know against Miami's.
You know what? I thought I had Pacheco in my lineup, but I guess I didn't.
And you're going to see where I took a hurt net with this
No, that's a great
defensive
pick. I think that's a
for
great
the next
pick.
one.
Yeah.
Pacheco, you know what? I kind of wish I would have done that, but the thing is, I spent a little bit more on my defense. I actually have the most expensive defense,
I got the second one.
I think I have the least expensive.
and that's okay. That's okay. You can still. There are still some good value picks at defense out there. I don't know what the Rams were, but I don't know. Either way, I went with my pick would be the Buffalo Bills. I feel like with the Steelers, they can, they may just run the ball, keep it low scoring, and I think that's going to favor well for Buffalo's defense, especially if they can make a play or two on defense to get those turnovers.
Well, I'll go. I went opposite of you on this. There's no reason. I was just low on money. I went with the Steelers.
Steelers, okay.
Doesn't sound good, but hopefully if they run the ball a lot, it'll be a short game.
Yeah,
I tell you
that's
though,
good.
I mean, if Miami's defense can hold them to 20 points last week,
Yeah.
I mean, Steelers can definitely do it.
There was 2,600, so.
Yeah. There you go. I like that too, actually.
But I actually, you were saying the most expensive. The most expensive is actually the Dallas Cowboys at
was it?
36, and Buffalo's at 35. I went with Buffalo. I had just enough money to lock them
Yeah,
up.
see, on mine, are you on DraftKings?
Yeah, I'm on
I
draft.
see. I was on FanDuel, and on FanDuel, Buffalo was the most
I got you.
expensive
Okay,
defense.
I got you.
But either way, I think Buffalo is a solid pick here. But to flip the coin, the Steelers would almost have to be a semi-solid pick here because the Bills want to run the ball. They've been trying to do so all year. The Steelers
Allen
want,
will get, though, you pick.
yeah, and the turnover, especially the turnover in the red zone. I mean,
Watt just scares me, dude. That's a lot
Yeah,
of their
Watt
defense.
being out, yeah.
I mean, that almost tears down a whole side. It
Yeah,
really does.
you're not getting the same amount of
Exactly.
points out of your sacks either.
So
Yeah, and that so either way, those are our lineups. Those are our picks. There's some value. Some we went high dollar. You do it your way, but if you want to use some of our guys or all of them, feel free because I feel like all three of our lineups are going to win money this week.
I think the safest picks, really, in DraftKings or any format, would probably be Lamb or Williams
Yeah.
for the Rams. I think those are your two safest picks at those positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did want
If you're-
Williams, but I couldn't afford him.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to go high dollar, that's the way to go, and those are safe.
Yeah. So those are our fantasy lineups for this week. Also, don't forget about the $10 bet to win $500 on the Rams to win the Super Bowl. I think you have a good outside shot there. Okay, Dave's locks this week. I have the Browns over the Texans. Take the points. The Chiefs over the Dolphins. Eat the points. No, money line. Money line on that one. I have a lock as the Bills will take down the Steelers, and also you eat those points. I think you're okay with the -10. I have a lock. The Packers will beat the Cowboys will beat the Packers money line. I have the Rams over the Lions money line. Now remember, the Rams are favored, so if you take the money line, you're going to build a little more juice in your parlay.
Dave loves the juice.
Yes. I also love the Eagles to beat the Buccaneers this week, and I think you could eat those points too. Happy hunting, folks. If you made it this far, you're
Hang on.
family to us.
I'm going to put you on the spot because this is the first episode of the playoffs.
Okay.
Who's winning the Super Bowl right now?
Ooh.
It's a
I
spot.
have a feeling me and Dave, well, I don't know. Everybody could be different here.
Well, okay, for 3 football seasons, I've said the the 49ers would win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to stick with that. But if they don't, I like the Ravens. I like the Ravens 49ers in the Super Bowl. I know that's a cheeky, chalky kind of pick there. But listen, I've been saying this all season, y'all. If you're listening, I've been telling you because the Ravens weren't the number one pick for a while.
No.
Okay. Also, the Eagles used to be the number one pick in the NFC. So I think these are the two teams here. I think they're going to play for the Super Bowl. And I've got the Niners barely edging out Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Dolphins Nation's going to hate me for this. The winner of the Super Bowl this year, Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, they're just strong right now. There's not many teams. I was the happiest person getting beat last week by them because I knew I didn't have to play them the week after.
Yeah.
And Mom even knows that. I was cheering like I'd rather play the Chiefs. Buffalo Bills against the Niners. Josh Allen's too much this year. The way they've ended the regular season is probably the best in the league right now, beating some of the big teams they have. So I'm taking the Bills all the way against the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Now, Brian, listen. Our producer woke up from his nap. He's got something to say.
Oh, shit.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Florida Gators, Bo.
Tim Tebow?
The Florida Gators. Tim Tebow's going to be kneeling in the end zone, feller.
Oh, I like it.
Yee.
Now, do you like the Dolphins, though? Who do you have?
He's a
You know,
Lamar guy. He's going.
I'm wishy-washy, but I tell you, and I'm a Dolphins guy, but after that thwarting, absolute demolishing that Lamar put on, I'm leaning
Don't do it.
Ravens.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
I'm leaning
All right.
Ravens, but I mean, there's several teams looking tough. I'm definitely not picking the Chiefs.
Yeah. Dustin, give it to me, son.
All right,
Give
you
it
know
to
I'm
me.
going first. Baltimore Ravens. And I'm with Brian on this. If you want to make a little money, a little outside shot here, I'd throw something on the Bills too.
Bills are just strong right now.
And you have the Ravens winning. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Who you got them playing? Niners.
Yeah,
Niners.
yeah.
There's too many Louisville fans here. I just want to let y'all know.
My dark horse for the Super Bowl is the
Hopefully
Rams.
the Rams.
I like
You're
that,
pushing them.
dude.
The
I
Rams.
want to put them in
Yeah.
it. I really do.
Bet it right now, $10.
Dude,
I've already done it.
What five get you?
That'd be $250.
Yeah.
NFC's
So-
just tough, man.
Throw five on 'em.
Cowboys.
So
I might throw five on about 8 different teams here to win the Super Bowl. Somebody gonna win.
Might as well. Be
well, the
you.
Ravens I think are 2 plus
Yeah.
225 or something. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't pay.
Get you $10.
Yeah. So either way, folks, if you've made it this far, you're like family to us, and we appreciate you. This is Wild Card Weekend. We're going wild and crazy. It's gonna be fun. Y'all have fun. Go win some money. This DDB's End Zone Empire, and we out of here.
Hey, I don't want to scare anybody, but with some games on Saturday, we might hear something from the boys. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, let's throw some comments.
I'll
let's
just
like,
talk that into
subscribe.
existence, maybe.
Yeah, let's like, subscribe. Throw some comments out there. Tell us what you think about our podcast and what we could do to improve, or if we actually helped you. So let's like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
And leave us some hate if you want to.
Yeah. We want to hear everything.
Let's get that algorithm rolling.
Yeah. DDB End Zone Empire. Peace.
Later.